Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from Days of Suck, who says, my 28 male, girlfriend 24 female of a year got into an altercation with my coworker 28 female during what was supposed to be a fun friend outing. Feeling conflicted. There is a trigger warning on this one of sexist language, so as always, if you want to skip it, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. Thank you, you cheeky so-and-so. Well, let's get started. Throwaway because Reddit is my girlfriend's life. She might see this anyway. First off, I love my girlfriend, but call her Maud. She's beautiful, smart, motivated, hilarious, and just amazing. Did I mention beautiful? She's beautiful. She's my first serious partner, and really I can't imagine her not in my life. She makes me food, gives out blowies like it's her job, and has introduced me to a ton of new things. That being said, she isn't all sunshine and daisies. She's very stubborn and sometimes a huge bitch for no real reason. The other week, we walked into a restaurant where she looked around, said everyone there was hideous, and just proceeded on as normal. She takes no shit, gives no fucks, and while sometimes that's a hard part of her personality, it's part of why I love her. Coworker is someone I've known for about 9 years. We have lunch almost every day. I call her Jen, I guess. We used to hang out more outside of work, but that's tapered off. Jen is 100% not my type dating-wise. Very free love, doesn't care much about her appearance, drugs everywhere, plus she has a boyfriend of 4 years. Jen rubs a lot of people the wrong way, but I've never had an issue with her. A little more background. Maud has never met Jen before this incident. There was no real reason for them to meet. Maud already didn't like her based off some information I told her. Elaborating a bit here, Jen has referred to me as her work husband for a while. I told Maud once during a conversation about Jen. After that, she told me flat out she didn't want to meet Jen. The conversation also included how no one really likes / gets along with Jen, and how she had me set up briefly with one of her friends who kinda treated me like shit. On to the day. A bunch of my friends / work friends had planned the day to a local amusement park to get everyone together. Maud was delighted to be invited and made no visible signs of displeasure when I mentioned Jen was coming, so I thought we were good to go. Day comes and we're figuring out rides, and it works out that Jen and 2 other co-workers would be in my car. Fine, right? No. Jen goes to get into the front seat and Maud asks why, since she gets shotgun always. Jen replies saying, I've always sat in the front of OP's car, and again goes to get in. This is where it gets a little embarrassing for me. Maybe I should have just told Jen to get in the back, but I didn't see the big deal. Maud basically says something like, hey, not today. I'm the one who sucks his D, which gives me certain privileges. One being front seat. So relocate to your appropriate place, sweetie. Not verbatim, but close. Jen is obviously pissed but gets in the back, and we enjoy a very awkward hour-and-a-half car ride, although Maud seems like her usual self. The whole day seems to be this weird tension between them, and I can tell both of them are getting more wound up the longer the day goes, but I can honestly not tell you why. I hadn't noticed Jen doing anything inappropriate or Maud being overtly mean to Jen, so I really just don't know. The big thing came down to a haunted type ride a few of us wanted to go on. When it came time to get on, Jen begged for us to sit next to each other. It made sense as there were 5 of us, and she would have been left with a stranger if she didn't get someone to agree to sit with her. Again, Maud stepped in saying she was sitting with me for reasons, before pausing and saying maybe Jen wouldn't have to beg someone else's boyfriend to sit with her on a stupid ride if 1, her boyfriend cared enough to come, and 2, she wasn't so unpleasant. Obviously, this wasn't nice of her, but she doesn't think she was wrong. She apologized to my friends and co-workers for making things awkward for them, but not to Jen. When I bring it up, she says I'm being oblivious about the situation. All day she was supposedly always next to me, talking to me in a way that excluded everyone else, and touching me, arm, shoulder, etc. Maud was angry that I somehow never picked up this was happening, and she's basically quit talking to me because I'm not sure where she's getting this stuff from, and I can't see her side at all. I like Jen. She's been a friend for a long time, and I think what Maud did was straight out of line. She's never done something like this before though, so maybe I'm the one out of line. I just don't know what to do here since Maud is no longer willing to talk about it. One of the top commenters says to OP, Jen's being pretty weird here, and it's weird that you didn't notice or stop it. You and Maud are a couple. It is usual to assume that Maud would sit in the front or that you would ride with Maud. It's bizarre that Jen would assume she would do these things. You think that it's fair for Jen to ask you to sit with her because it would leave her alone with a stranger if you didn't, but didn't think that by doing that you would leave your girlfriend alone with a stranger. I don't think what Maud said was very nice, but it's totally understandable as she was frustrated. Opie responded saying, I honestly never really thought about who Maud would have sat with, which is definitely on me. Apparently I'm slow. Zombie Jen replied to him, wow, if you were this oblivious on this one trip, I imagine Jen does lots of things that are inappropriate that you just don't notice. You need to set some boundaries with her or your relationship is going to suffer. And there was lots of people just saying, does OP see how inappropriate Jen was? OP says 1. Honestly, I'm not sure it was inappropriate. I can see how maybe I'm putting them on the same plane when Maud should be more important, and she's more important to me, but Jen has been my friend for a long time and I still have to work with her to deal with. I just wish Maud could have been a little cooler about it. OP also says, maybe I'm being oblivious. I never noticed any of the things Maud said happening, but I'm starting to doubt myself. Jen is a longtime friend. I don't want to feel bad, but Maud is number 1. I just don't want to get into a pattern where she's being rude then leaves when I disagree with her. And one more that says, I don't, but I'm the only one I guess. We're all friends, it was supposed to be a good time and it turned into a thing where letting someone sit up front means I'm choosing them over my girlfriend. The whole thing seems petty to me. I don't understand why everyone finds meaning in not immediately telling Jen she can't sit with me. She could have been any one of the other people there, and I wouldn't have changed anything. A commenter says, I did a password recovery on my Reddit account, just so that I could tell you how dumb you are. You're a fucking dumbass. Another one says, OPGs, you like that Maud's hot, makes you food and sucks your D, but you can't put yourself in her shoes for 1 second and imagine how you'd feel if she was indulging another man the way you're indulging Jen. You sound in this post like you don't even care at all about how she feels, except how she benefits you. That's pretty gross. Opie then edits the post and says, okay guys, I'm being a massively dense idiot. This is my first real relationship. I didn't notice anything wrong. I'm behind the curve. I'm calling Maud and apologizing and I'll figure out the work thing with Jen if that's what it comes to. And I'm pretty much with the comments on this one. I think Maud was right about the whole situation, but the whole delivery and the way that she did it, I wasn't so on board with. Because the front seat thing alone wouldn't necessarily convince me of anything, but the pattern of behavior, Jen calling him her work husband, automatically expecting the front seat over his girlfriend, and apparently spending the day glued to him, and then specifically begging him to sit beside her on the ride when his girlfriend was right there. I can understand why Maud was probably thinking, are you seriously not seeing this? And I think the way Maud went for the nuclear option was just the crudeness of it. It was just, and I'm not backing up Jen here, but it did rub me the wrong way. You could have just simply said, I'm sitting with my boyfriend and that's the end of it. But I think OP's description of Maud was sort of revealing in a different way itself. You know, he already knows that she can be needlessly cruel at the whole restaurant thing and everyone in there is hideous and takes no shit. That's usually code that we see a lot of time of just being an arsehole. But in this particular situation, I don't blame Maud for being pissed off in it. But nearly 3 weeks later, OP does come in to update the post and says there's 2 things I want to say right off the bat. 1, you guys were right. I was a complete idiot about the whole thing, and my perspective on relationships in general is pretty messed up. 2, Maud wasn't the commenter who left the suck his D comment on the other thread. She reads a ton of Reddit and tucked it away for use if need be, and by God did she use it when she had the chance. That being said, she also saw my thread. I should have known she would, but hoped to squeak by under the amount of posts this subreddit gets. This might be long. She didn't speak to me for about a week or so after I had posted. I did call her after you all beat it into me that I was being stupid. I tried to apologize. I reduced my interactions with Jen and cut my contact down with her as much as possible. Finally, she called me back and agreed to meet at a coffee place that's pretty good for private conversation. She was already there when I got there. When I sat down, she just stared at me, so I assumed I should just lay it all out. When I said I never noticed how Jen was with me, I wasn't lying. I genuinely thought that's just how people were with longtime friends. We used to spend a lot of time together and there's a lot of history with us. But when I posted, someone, I forget who, left a comment saying I was being strung along by Jen as a surrogate boyfriend, which really got me thinking. I pride myself in being a nice guy. Not like a nice guy, but whenever anyone has an issue, they know they can count on me to help them. I've built an incredibly loyal group of friends this way. It made me think of all the things I've done for Jen over the years. When she goes away for vacation, I take care of her house/dog. When her and her boyfriend fight, I listen and give advice. I sit with her at lunch when no one else will. I give her rides when she needs them to and from work, and I defend her to others. All stuff I do for my guy friends, but the difference is she doesn't seem to respect me because of it. She actually demands a lot from me, and I never noticed before. Buying her food and drinks, showing up at parties I don't want to be at, so she doesn't whine to me. Waking up in the early hours to pick her up when she's too drunk to drive. Insisting I buy her birthday and Christmas presents. She gets sad if they're not what she asks for. She often comes to my desk at work to talk and gets huffy when I tell her I can't right now. All of this only really hit me when I posted. She doesn't respect me or probably even sees me as a friend. She uses me for validation and free stuff. She's never given me a birthday present, but she will post on my wall, "Happy birthday work husband," so everyone can see. I love Maud. She's beautiful and lovely and yes, sometimes mean, but I like her mean. More than anything, I love her because she really loves me, which is something I've never had. This is my first real relationship, and I guess a part of me was kind of stuck in a single mindset where I didn't see the significance of someone sitting shotgun or sitting next to me on a ride. I just didn't get it, but I do now. I basically told her that, but more. When I was done, she kind of went and left. I figured that was it. I made no attempt to contact her after that and kind of focused on what a shithead I am. I avoided Jen at all costs and moped around for a while. A couple of days after we had met, she called to ask if she could come over, which I enthusiastically said yes to. Spent the day cleaning and picked up her favorite dinner stuff. Trying to speed this up, she reamed me out. She started off super pissed and slowly got sadder and sadder as she went on. She cried, which made me cry. She said a lot of things I can't fit in here about how much she does for me and how shitty it is that I don't value her or our relationship over a coworker. After we held each other in silence for a while, I apologized again, multiple times. She does a lot for me and I don't know why she bothered with me in the first place. She's out of my league. I got us the dinner I picked up and we ate in weird silence. She fell asleep at my place and when we woke up seemed happier. We kissed a little and she said if I'm ever this stupid again, she's going to pull all my insides out, which was a relief to hear, as odd as that sounds. That's when she told me she saw my post and was furious, and also that wasn't the original "I suck his D" commenter. I'm posting now because last night I had a work event, a real formal work event, and I brought Maud with me. I made sure to stay with her the whole time and introduced her to everyone as my stunning significant other. Jen was there and I finally noticed it. She tried to inject herself into every conversation we were having and followed us around the whole event. When we first got there, she ran up and hugged me. Her hands stayed on my shoulders and she demanded to know why I haven't been around lately. I extricated myself and told her I was busy, but she kept pushing the conversation until she finally said, "It's because of your bitchy girlfriend, right? She's cutting you off from your friends now." Mind you, Maud is right there beside me, so Jen is saying that right in front of Maud. It really drove home in my mind how far I let this go with Jen, that she was okay with doing this. I was shocked, but luckily Maud saved me. She just laughed. It was louder than necessary and went on until it was unnatural, but it caught the attention of some other people around us who leaned in and asked what was so funny. Maud composed herself and said Jen was being hilarious and to ask her about the joke she just made. Then Maud maneuvered us away to another group and was charming as ever. It's a happy ending for a guy who probably doesn't deserve it. Although I was beaten mercilessly in my last post, it's the only thing that brought me to my senses. So thanks to all who commented and made me feel like shit. One of the top commenters to this said, 1. This shit with Jen hasn't bottomed out yet. Trust me, crazy does not die quietly. Be prepared. Which brings me to 2. Maud had to save your ass again when Jen called her a bitch right in front of you. Are you ever going to stand up for Maud in front of Jen to Jen? As you are learning, being nice doesn't mean being a pushover. Maud is clearly really good at this, but don't abuse that any more than you already have. Opie says, I know I'm not good with all the confrontation. I freeze up. It's something I'm going to have to work on, even if I write down a few lines and repeat them until it's automatic. Don't want to mess this up again. K-Rad says, I'll be honest with you. Any coworker for any reason called my SO a bitch at a work event, HR would be involved. That is so unprofessional. but explain to HR that Jen has been cornering you, insulting your SO for no reason, and publicly insulted her at a work event. Even if they do nothing, there will be a record. Opie says our HR is pretty useless, but I'll pop in and mention it to them. I've told a few co-workers what's been going on, and no one is surprised. I'm getting ribbed quite a bit for not realizing for so long what's been happening. Opie adds more about apologizing to Maud and dealing with Jen. Opie says, I definitely need to learn how to handle confrontation better, but I did apologize to Maud. She brushed it off. I haven't had any other interactions with Jen at all, and when I'm forced to again, I'll hopefully be more prepared. Morgoth says, one thing you desperately need to practice, and by practice I mean actually write out some scripts and rehearse them. I'm sure Maud would love to help. How you are going to face Jen in your workplace when it's just her and you, because believe me, this incident is not the end of Jen. She won't go quietly just like that. There's too much to lose for her. So one thing you need to be prepared for is how you're going to tell her that from now on, your communications will be business talk only. How are you going to tell her that the daily lunches and rides to work and birthday gifts are just a thing of the past? It won't be easy, but it has to be done. You owe at least that much to Maud for sticking with you. If it was me, I wouldn't go unprepared. Script it out, practice it in front of a mirror or with Maud. Get at least a little bit comfortable with what you want to say before you have to say it. You sound like a guy who hates confrontation. I am too, I understand. So practicing what you want to say beforehand can make a big difference. Good luck. OP says, I'm prepping myself for this now. I haven't seen hide nor hair of Jen. I've told a couple of people in the workplace what's been happening. Spoiler, no one is surprised. I feel stupid writing down things like that, but I really have to, so I am. Ugh, I wish she'd just disappear so I wouldn't have to deal with it. Bloody hell. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Our next story comes from the Off My Chest subreddit from Throwaway19900405 and says, I'm very much jealous of my husband's ex-wife. I, 40 female, am very much jealous of my husband's 50 male ex. Our relationship started with an affair. I know it was wrong. Their marriage was on the rocks and my husband wanted to end it. When she, 48 female, learned about the affair, she didn't scream or shout at me. She was rather calm. She only asked me if I truly loved her husband. I said yes. She told me that if I'm going to be a part of my husband's life, I better treat her kids, 19 female, 16 male, and 14 female, with respect and not push them to accept me. She didn't even create any hassle in the divorce. Things were tough. My husband's parents and friends really criticized us, and his parents almost disowned him. If it wasn't for his ex, they would have went with it. But his ex convinced them to not cut us off. Their parents did forgive my husband, but I still feel like an outsider to them. But they do love our kid, 4 male. My husband's ex is very different. She never held a grudge against me, always pushed her kids to have a relationship with their dad. His oldest doesn't talk to him because of the divorce, and it always hurts my husband that his daughter wants nothing to do with them. The rest of them are good. They do not love me, but they are civil. She never had bad-mouthed me or called me a homewrecker. She did her best for the kids. She still tries her best so that her eldest daughter had a good relationship with her dad. I used to think she's a silly woman for not holding a grudge. She's always nice to me. When I was pregnant, she first congratulated me, and even though she wasn't invited to my baby shower, she sent me a diaper genie as a gift. I always felt guilty that I hurt such a pious woman. To make it more complicated, she's in a relationship with my cousin, 45 male. My parents love her. Uncle and aunt love her. Even my cousin's kids love her. She never discriminated between her kids and mine. She always sends some cookies or extra food for my son with her kids whenever it is their visitation time. She even met my son and treats him like her own. For the longest of time I wondered, why is she like this? Is she trying to win her husband back? I even asked her why she doesn't hate me when I was her husband's mistress. She told me she doesn't see the point because whether or not she hates me, her marriage was over anyways. I'm jealous of her. She is not just beautiful but also graceful. I know I was very much younger than her when my husband started the affair, but I can say she is much more better looking than I am. Even if I took her place in her husband's life, but I can never be her. Edit. I knew very well I wasn't going to be treated like a good person here. I know I'm not a good person either for breaking up a home, so I'm editing this to clear a few things out. I know I made typos. I wrote this in a hurry. I didn't even have time to reverse what I wrote. I'm not in a good position right now, and yes, it is because of my husband too, but that is a story I will share later. I fixed the typos and I hope it is clear to you all. Yes, I like her a lot. She's an amazing human. I'm glad I don't have any ex drama in my life. And yes, a part of that really makes me insecure because I keep trying to find a fault in her. Because even my own parents like her when she attended the family functions as my cousin's girlfriend. My cousin and her met each other a year ago when she was visiting me, and she came to drop off my kid along with hers. She sometimes invites my son to her house. That's why she herself dropped him off. I asked her to stay for dinner, and there my cousin and her hit it off and decided to date. That's pretty much it. Also, no, this was not written by her. She doesn't use social media that much as far as I know. A commenter says to OP, "Dang, she's almost killed you with kindness, and she's not even trying. She just sounds very kind. I too strive to be nice and liked, just for the good of it. I'm not sure about much, but it seems like you just keep saying how kind she is." Edit, I'd like to add, since it's got a few upvotes, that people who don't have the life they desire tend to be jealous of those with good lives. As others have stated, just work on yourself. Don't focus on being better or spite, or to have one over on someone. Do it for yourself. Take care of your health and your mind. Be kind to others. Let it radiate off of you. Because I believe that's what you strive for and can accomplish. I'm not saying that you're jealous. Can be or maybe not, but everyone strives to have a happy life and there's nothing wrong with that. It is wrong to be mad others have a happy life or misplaced anger that you don't have the life you want. Just be the best you can be. It's a lifestyle. It takes work every day. I strive for it every day and you can too. We can all be happy. Commenter says, "She sounds like an incredible woman. I'm very impressed." Another commenter says, "Yeah, she sounds amazing. I'd be friends with her for sure. I bet she's worth knowing." Another one replies saying, "Seriously, she's the poster child for the best revenge is a life well lived. It's not easy to let go of the resentment that comes with being deceived. She's pretty amazing for managing it so well." A commenter says, "Maybe part of you thinks that if he can cheat and leave a beautiful, graceful, forgiving woman with whom he had built a life with, he will eventually leave his mistress and it won't be as easy for you to pick up the pieces. You reap what you sow. I also have a lot of regrets." So OP comes in with an update and said, "I made a post a few days ago. There I vented my frustration about how my husband's ex was so good. Yes, a part of me was jealous of her. She was so nice and kind. Her kids are really well behaved. I know they will never accept me as their part of the family, but they haven't been mean to me or to my son in any ways. Till now I thought the problem was my husband's ex, but no, the problem was him. I do not know how it came to this. I agree, when we started dating he was married. He told me his marriage was already over and he'd be getting a divorce soon. Their marriage had problems, that's all I knew. The problem started almost a few months ago. I could see him being distant towards me. I know couples go through stages in life where they've been distant towards each other. I tried to give him space that he needs. Before getting married, we went to premarital counseling because my husband was really adamant to not screw up. For those months, there was no intimacy. I didn't think he would cheat because he wasn't late or hid anything on his phone. Then, when we finally became intimate and made love, he said his ex-wife's name. That is when I froze. Why? The next day, I confronted him. He didn't lie to me. He broke down in tears and said that he is still in love with his ex. My heart broke. I guess I know how she must have felt when I was the other woman. I asked him if he really loved her. Why did he marry me? I got the full picture after 6 fucking years. Yes, they had problems, but according to my husband, it was his fault. He never confessed his affair. His ex-wife found out about the affair on her own and confronted him. He was ready to make the marriage work, but before that, his wife served him divorce papers. The last thing she said to me was she has given him the freedom he wants. My husband said he begged and pleaded. His ex was smart. She only kept the house and 50-50 for the kids. She even explained to the kids the reason for their divorce. His oldest daughter knew the actual reason, but the other two were given a kid-friendly reason. On top of his divorce and his oldest daughter not talking to him really put a toll on his mind. I was there for him. He thought that he should move on with his life with me instead, but deep down, he always loved her. He always feels guilty for hurting her. I understand all of that, but I don't understand why now. He said he wants to start a new life with me. I apologize to everyone. I do not hate his ex. It's him that I'm mad at. He's a weak man. am not a better woman. He will always have a place in his heart for her because they have been together since teenagers. I notice the signs now. Whenever he would see his ex with her new boyfriend, he would get upset. He tried to hide it, but I know why. I'm living in the guest room until we sort things out. I guess you all are happy because I'm getting what I deserve. The commenter says, I don't think you've learned the lesson because no one wants you to be miserable. They wanted you to be accountable, which you still are not. You wanted to feel superior, to feel chosen, to feel like you were the first and best pick. But you entered into a situation where that literally could never be true, because if that were the case, he would have left his ex before attempting a relationship with you. The cruelty was the point. You enjoyed making/imagining her feeling less than and foolish. You reveled in that and thought less of her. Now you're standing in the mirror and instead of seeing her, you see yourself. I said on your last post that the reason she is able to find happiness is because she has self-respect. I still stand by that statement. Sure, he is a person with no self-respect who begged for a relationship he intentionally sabotaged, but you have basked in the turmoil of him demolishing their life. You did not care. You had no empathy, yet you're expecting so much. He lied to his ex and had an affair, whether he later admitted it or not. So why did you think he could never lie to you? That is something that I simply do not understand about people who enter into relationships as affair partners. You agreed with his values until they negatively affected you, so again, this is less about him being weak and more about you. You need to take accountability for yourself and stop placing blame on the ex or even on your husband, no matter how pathetic he is. The circumstances of your current life are based around your decision making. Another one says, ditch the guy and move on. All you're doing is a stand-in for the woman he wishes he was with, and he's just going to eventually resent you anyway, because he wishes you and him never happened. Commenter replies saying pretty much everybody in her story wishes he and her didn't happen, except her. Commenter says, hook up with a married man and be surprised when it doesn't work out? Shake my head. You know he would have cheated on you with her in a second if he had the chance. If they'll cheat with you, they'll cheat on you. That's a fact. At least he was actually honest now, and you can make whatever decision you want. A lifetime of knowing your partner would rather be with someone else does not sound like fun to me though. Commenter replies saying, lol. You always have a lingering doubt when he's on his phone smiling. Who's he smiling about? Side chicks are always side chicks. One more commenter says, well, his ex-wife sounds like a wonderful woman. You and your husband deserve each other. That's what always gets me with affair stories, and the commenters pointed it out. If you're going to cheat with someone, what makes you think that they won't cheat again with someone else? Deary me. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much. And hopefully I'm going to see you in the next one. Take care and much love.